Hello, my dear students. Dr. Fatma Zahra Salim with you, a professor in the Faculty of Education at Ain Shams University in the Foundations of Education department. And we need to continue the previous lecture. And based on the previous lecture, today's lecture about the conceptual and philosophical fundamentals of STEM education. So, welcome in STEM education and the foundations of STEM education curriculum. Okay, based on the previous lecture that we studied about the historical background and the institutional background of the STEM education, so we need to continue by the conceptual and the philosophical fundamentals of STEM education. Firstly, we need to put our hands on the key concepts of STEM education. Firstly, the first concept integration. So the definition of the integration, by the way, integration is the part and the nature of STEM education is part of teaching in STEM education. So we need to bring sciences together and the fields that these sciences belong to. We need to bring all these fields and sciences together to create new category and new classification and to make a combination between similarities and differences. Let's see the matters, the definition of the integration, the comprehensive, the holistic vision to bring fields together, the ability to combine similarities and differences. The second key concept is reform. So we need to make shift or to transfer from the traditional learning into advanced learning or more applicable and more smart learning. So how? By how to change from traditional education to STEM education in schools. Educators or teachers must help students to prepare for this global shift. So, if you need your students to be innovative persons, you should first of all, as teacher, to be innovative and creative teacher and enable yourself to understand very well the STEM nature and how to bring and make a combination among the similarities and differences and transfer from the traditional education by recent education through STEM education. And this requires many efforts from you as teacher. The third definition is context, and this is key concept and very important concept to realize the authentic. Authentic means here original contexts and build the STEM education accordingly. So you need to establish your STEM education, your recent and advanced learning according to the context and according to the surrounding environment. So this is very important concept here. The context and the environment, social, physical, political, economical. So you need natural. So you need to know all these contexts and how to build and establish your STEM education according to your state and community. The last key concept here is the strategy or the approach. So you need in-depth, deep strategies and methods of STEM education. So approach means here strategy, method. You need to approach and to need to study the all these sciences together to create something new to your students and a new program of STEM education, and this is the big challenges in front of you as teacher. So the in-depth strategies or methods and the methods of in-depth means here you should build your STEM education on deep analysis of the culture of your students and your context and your state and the nature of the sciences, how to combine these sciences together to create something new. This is, you need deep analysis and deep thinking, and use all the strategies that depend on this STEM education, and build your STEM education according to these methods. Let's move to the key fundamental thing in the STEM education is STEM meta discipline. Discipline means here system, and the meta means beyond or deep system or deep discipline. So how to bring disciplines together or make or create multi-disciplines in STEM education, and this is your barrier, and this is major barrier or a challenge in front of you as a teacher. Firstly, how to remove the traditional barriers. Barriers means here challenges and obstacles. So how to remove the traditional type of learning, traditional methods in education and learning, how to remove all these things and all these, or avoid all these barriers. Secondly, how to engage the students in high quality system like STEM education. So how to engage and make the students coming up or adapt with this high quality system and participate in the STEM education. How to improve or improving when you improving the programs in STEM education, and when you train the educators and teachers very well on STEM education, you can increase the literacy of people in science and technology, and illiterate many misleadings or many misunderstandings of technology and science, and you can create um, a scientific community and scientific society too. So improving STEM education may increase the literacy of people in science and technology, and the awareness, and raising the awareness of science and technology. In the fourth point here, connection between the subjects and real world problems, and this is what we say PBL or problem-based learning. This is part of STEM education to know very well how to bring sciences together and connect sciences together, and to make a relationship or linkage between subjects and the problems, and make a coherent relationship between subjects and the real world problems, and how to train your students to solve their problems by themselves. This is a big challenge in front of you, and this STEM meta discipline based on. And the last key point is that STEM meta-discipline based on operationalize, make it applicable and make it smart, and the connection to real life applications. And this is the big challenge and the big barrier in front of you as a teacher, how to transfer all this theoretical information about the sciences to be able to applicable ideas and applicable steps, and how to achieve all these ideas and theories in the community and in your discourse community or scientific community as a teacher and in your school. So operationalize and the connection, make a relationship to real life application. We need in STEM education and STEM meta discipline how to make connection and relationship among sciences to create applicable ideas and applicable innovations inside the society and the community, and this very important point. So we have key 5 points here to show the nature of STEM meta-discipline or multi-disciplines in STEM education, how to remove the traditional barriers, engaging students in high quality system, improving STEM education may increase the literacy of people in science and technology, connection between make a relationship or linkage between the subjects and real world problems, operationalize and the connection to real life application or applicable ideas or innovative ideas, how to be able to implement in the real context. Let's move to the very important fundamental of STEM education, which is the barriers or obstacles of STEM education. As we know before, that integrated approach is part of the philosophy of STEM education. But there are many barriers in front of you as a teacher or educator and in front of the decision makers too. So you need to overcome all these barriers firstly, then apply this integrated approach. The first barrier indeed related to the STEM education requires the profound or deep restructuring of lessons and curriculum. So we need new curricula and new lessons inside your schools and programs and to teach these programs to your students. The second barrier is integrated STEM education requires numerous materials, resources such as or construction tools such as saws, measuring devices, hammers maybe, electronic materials such as computers, design programs or programmers, robotics, kites, calculators, and the design materials that used in design such as woods, styrofoams, glue, cardboard, or constructions tools like papers, flip charts, all these resources and all these materials or tools should be inside your schools and classes. The third barrier, indeed, teachers must have deep knowledge of STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and they should know general knowledge and the important key concepts and the key ideas of all these sciences, and how to extract the main dictionary and the main definitions of these sciences and the definitions and the concepts related to all these sciences. This is very important challenge and the barrier in front of the teachers. So they should have knowledge about science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The fourth barrier here is lack of awareness about how integrated STEM learning and teaching. The lack of how to apply the strategies that depend on integrated approach and how to apply this integrated approach with your students, because as a teacher you lack of specific strategies that you should follow and the methods that you should follow to learn and teach your students accordingly. So it is very important to be aware of the strategies of STEM education, and these strategies differ from the traditional strategies. Indeed, the last barrier and this very important barrier in the integrated approach barriers, teachers' lack of motivation to change their beliefs and practices, and this very important challenge in front of the decision makers and the policy makers, because they they will achieve the STEM education with traditional concepts and traditional methods and traditional strategies, and they can't achieve the target of integrated approach and the integration of the sciences and the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics because of lack of motivation to change their beliefs and practices inside the classroom and inside their practices with their students. So this is very important and crucial barrier in of integrated approach. So we have these 5 key barriers of integrated approach, and as an educator and learn teacher, you should overcome and avoid all these barriers to apply all these barriers to apply the integrated approach of STEM education. Now it's time for practicing and the activity. The activity for you now, what are the key challenges of STEM education implementing in your school or according to your perspectives or your point of view? Support, please, your opinion with strong evidence to convince yourself firstly and convince your professor. Thank you for having Thank you for having me in this lecture. Dr. Fatma Zahra Salim with you, a professor in the Faculty of Education at Ain Shams University in the Foundations of Education Department. Please, please keep on your smile because you deserve to be an optimistic person and to take a second step in your life. Please enjoy studying in our faculty with your STEM education. Thank you so much. See you next lecture, inshallah.